Rise.
What you see, man?
Okay, for the record, the state defense, Mr. Medina, and all of our jurors are accounted for. Ladies and gentlemen, there are no assigned seats, so I guess if whoever gets to the courtroom first gets the pick of their choice. It was good to see you all. Hope you had a nice lunch. State, would you like to call your next witness?
Yes. The state calls
Matt Massey. Please come forward to be sworn in by the clerk.
Please welcome and testify against you the truth and the truth and nothing but the truth. You may consider the witness stand.
Ma'am, please make sure that all of your responses be out loud so that the jurors may hear it. Ms. Klein, when she is ready, you may begin.
Good afternoon. You ready?
Yes.
Good afternoon. Please introduce yourself to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
Hi, my name is Christine Marie Massey.
Ms. Massey, back in 2013, could you tell us what you did for a living?
I was a communications officer at the City of South Miami for the City of South Miami Police Department.
I should ask you to keep make sure your voice is nice and loud. Thank you. And are you currently in that position as a communications officer?
No, I recently had a baby, and due to a scheduling conflict, I'm a stay-at-home mom now.
Okay, congratulations. So let's talk about back in 2013. What is a communications officer?
We do dispatching. We handle the incoming phone calls. We handle the lobby, the walk-ins, police report requests and copies, subpoenas, but primarily dispatching, starting fire rescue, police officers.
And where were you stationed?
At the City of South Marion Police Department, the communications office faces the lobby, and there's a bulletproof glass between the two of us.
And are you in that position a sworn law enforcement officer?
No, it's a civilian position.
Okay. And how long had you been doing that as of August 2013?
When I resigned, it was 8 years, so probably 6.5, almost 7 years.
Okay. Did you get any kind of training or anything to do that?
Yes, you go through training and then continued education and on-site training, so it's involved.
So, drawing your attention specifically to August 8th, 2013, were you working that day?
Yes,
What shift were you responsible for?
I was working 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., and that's the morning shift.
Did there come a time when someone came into the lobby of the South Miami Police Department who later became known to you as Derek Medina?
Yes, at around 11:32, two people walked into the lobby, and a gentleman advised that he had to turn himself in. And I was finishing up a phone call, and I said, "For what?" And he said he just shot and killed his wife. And the other gentleman with him was his father.
Okay, so let's just back up a second. You said 11:32. Is that AM or PM?
A.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I apologize for the interruption.
Okay, so 11:32 a.m., someone who later became known to you as Derek Medina comes into the lobby. Do you see that person in the courtroom today?
Yes.
It's identified by an article photo of you.
Suit and tie, long hair, 5 o'clock shadow.
Record reflects she's identified. Okay, now, you're on a call having nothing to do with whatever was being said to you by the defendant on the side of the glass. Is that correct?
Correct. Right when he walked in, I was hanging up the phone, taking care of another thing.
And you said he was accompanied by another man.
Correct.
Okay. And that person later became known to you as his father.
Correct.
Okay. So he comes in, and what is the first thing that the defendant does?
He came in and he said, "I have to turn myself in." And I said, "For what?" And then he reiterated, "I just shot and killed my wife."
And so what did you do when he said that?
I asked for the exact location, meaning the address, and I know I asked for where her location was. And as soon as I gathered that information, I picked up the radio transmitter to do a verbal dispatch so that I could get not only police out there, but fire rescue to roll as well. And so I advised the Kendall dispatcher in South Miami 50. I have a priority, and it's going to be on the lines of a 330, which is a police code for shooting with injuries. Stated the address, started 2 units to the scene, and had 2 units respond to the lobby, reference the subject was in the lobby.
Okay. Now you said a verbal dispatch. Is that as opposed to a different kind of dispatch for those of us not familiar with the forms of dispatch?
When you're dispatching, you could do verbal dispatch over the radio, and then everyone would hear it, or you could also put it through the computer CAD system. Low priority call, I could type it up. It would send over. Kendall does all of our dispatching, say verbally dispatch it so that the South Miami units can hear it in their car and on their radios. And so because it was a priority, a hot call, I just took control of the radio, asked to put it out immediately so there was no time delay. I then turned and put it into the computer system as well.
Okay. And did he provide you with the address?
Yes.
Do you recall what it was?
Can I refer to my notes that they
Is there something that would refresh your recollection?
Yeah, I just
Did you take notes?
I took notes that day, a couple hours after, and I just jotted down the things that I did and what was said.
And would those notes refresh your recollection as to the address that he gave you?
Yes.
Okay. Just I'm going to ask the witness to be allowed to refer her notes.
And Notes.
You may please read your notes and look up when your recollection is adequately refreshed. The address that you were provided by the defendant.
The address that was provided was 5555 Southwest 67th Avenue.
Okay, that's here in Miami-Dade County.
That's here in Miami-Dade, but that's specifically in the South Miami jurisdiction, so that would fall on our side.
Okay, fine. I'm now going to ask you so that your notes are not up, to turn them over. Should you need to refer to them again, please just let the court and us know.
Okay.
Okay. So he gives you this address and you're right away starting to make calls. Okay. But are you also still continuing to have a conversation with him?
After he told me everything, he sat down, and then I proceeded to do dispatching and communications, jobs. And I want to say his father walked up to ask a question, but I went back to doing dispatching.
So you did not have any conversation with his father?
No, I kept everything to a minimum with the father. The father wasn't on scene there, so I wanted to do just strictly dispatching and strictly speak with, or if I had any questions, direct them to Derek Medina.
Okay. Now you just said once he told you everything. Okay. So can you please tell us what it is he told you?
Just the entering of the police station, the advising he needed to turn himself in, that he shot his wife. He gave me the address. He gave me the location. He stated it was in self-defense, and I asked for officer safety. I asked him where the gun was located. He told me in the closet. And then he said his wife came at him with a knife, so I asked, where's the knife? And he said, in the kitchen. And I said, okay, and I believe he specifically said a drawer. I provided that information to the officers out on the scene, and it was at a later point in time he mentioned the 10-year-old stepdaughter.
What did he say about that?
He said that she was still in the house, but that she was unaware of what was going on, that he put her upstairs in a bedroom, and he locked her in a bedroom, but that she didn't know what was going on. And the last things that I asked him is by that time, South Miami officers were on scene. They started to speak with him. They gave him a pat down, and he was being escorted into the back. The last thing I asked was what was the little girl's name, because that was very important for the officers on scene at the apartment to know. He told me her name. He was ushered through the doors.
So you were basically communicating on dispatch what you were being told because officers were going there.
Correct.
Okay. I want to go back. You said that there were officers at this point that you summoned to the lobby.
Correct.
Okay. And who was that showed up?
I requested 2 units, and the first unit on scene was Officer Contreras, and the second unit on scene was Officer Everett.
Okay.
And then shortly after that, Sergeant James came in through the lobby, and then other police department personnel were there. I asked 2 detectives. I asked a detective to come downstairs. So those were the officers that were on scene pretty much immediately, within a few minutes.
Did you ask the defendant any questions, or what, if any, questions did you ask him about a time frame?
I asked him, when he told me that he shot and killed his wife, I asked him, what's the time frame? How long has it been? And he goes, about 30 minutes. And I said, okay.
Did he tell you where he was going or why?
Stated that he's like, I shot her and then I left. I just had to leave. I had to go say goodbye to my friends and family.
And once Officer Venturi and Officer Everett came in, were there other officers that came in afterward?
Sergeant James came in afterwards. Chief Orlando Martinez walked in afterwards. The detectives came downstairs.
So lots of people came into the lobby.
Yes.
Fair to say?
Correct.
Okay. And after that, you didn't continue any further conversations once law enforcement was there?
Correct.
Okay. What was the defendant's demeanor when he was speaking to you?
He was calm. You could tell he was a little agitated, a little bothered. He looked stressed, but he was calm. He sat down in the chair.
And is the lobby of the South Miami Police Department video?
Yes.
Is there a running video?
Yes.
Okay. So this would have been captured on video?
Oh, yes.
Okay. And is there sound that goes with that?
No,
Okay.
it's just going to be a video feed.
Okay. And, have you had an opportunity to review the video of the lobby of August 8th, 2013?
Yes,
Okay. And when did you look at that video?
this morning before you came here.
And at the time that you looked at the video, did the video that you looked at fairly and accurately depict what happened that morning in the South Miami Police Department?
Yes?
Did it appear to have been altered in any way whatsoever?
No.
Okay. And did you then initial the video after you watched it this morning to certify that you had in fact watched that video?
Yes.
Okay. I'm showing what's been marked for identification as State's Exhibit 1B. Do you recognize this disc?
Yes.
Okay. How do you recognize it?
We watched the video of him entering the lobby this morning,
Okay.
and I signed and dated with my initials.
So is this your signature that you're pointing to and the date?
Yes.
And that's in your handwriting?
Yes.
Okay. And so this indicates this is the disc we watched?
Yes.
Very good. Judge, at this time, I'd offer an identification of evidence what's been marked for ID as State's Exhibit 1B.
Any objection from the defense? Let's go sidebar. Yes, you may, and you may position the accordingly. Defense, if you need to reposition yourself, you may do so.
Just going to ask,
And
I
if
want to make sure that she needs to be able to see it as well.
If she needs to step down, she may.
Ms. Massey, you may step down.
Ladies and gentlemen, just so you all are aware, for during the course of the trial, may look off, what may seem like off in the distance. There's actually a circular mirror here that will permit me to see the evidence and the witnesses as you do. So don't think I'm just daydreaming, staring off into space. I'm actually observing the evidence as well. State, you may continue.
Judge, respectfully, and with this angle, my client has no opportunity to view what's being entered into evidence. I would see if they could tilt it and have my client move down to the end of the row, please.
I don't have a problem. Okay. Mr. Medina, if you'd like to move to the end of the table, please.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, State.
Ms. Massey, show me what's playing has stated that it's an evidence that states that we would want to tell the ladies and gentlemen while it's what we're looking at.
Before you begin, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, can everybody see the videotape? If you need to stand or reposition yourselves, please feel free to do so. Everybody needs to observe the same evidence. And just so the jurors are also aware that any item that comes in to evidence during the course of the trial, such as this video, you will also have the opportunity for further review during your deliberations. Okay. You may begin.
Judge, just for the record, I paused it once you started talking, so all I'm going to do now is just read 1 minute to. Yes, why don't you answer my question in the meantime while I am working the equipment, which I am.
Okay, this is the lobby of the South Miami Police Department. These are the front doors here. This is the bulletproof glass right here, and I sit on the other side. And on this big position, I was working. And then there's the chair, and this is a little restroom here. This is a small lobby inside the South Miami Police Department.
Okay, and I noticed at the top it says 2013-88. Is that the date?
Correct.
And 11:30:50 would be the time.
Correct.
Okay. Would you please identify the people that just walked into the South Miami Police Department on video at this point?
Okay, this is Medina, and this is his father.
Okay. And is this the point you refer to where he's coming up to the glass to speak with you?
Yes, he's coming up to the glass to speak.
And what is happening now while he's sitting there?
If he tells me I just shot and killed my wife, I'm dispatching the radio. If he walks in and sits, I would have to hear the audio transmission of the actual verbal dispatch to know if he says it right then and there, or if he sits and then I say, how can I help you?
So you have the ability to communicate through the glass while someone is sitting in those chairs?
Yes, I can shout through a glass. I mean, it's a big glass, but they can hear me.
And is this the, tell us what we're looking at.
Well, right now it's paused. Sometimes the video feed does that at South Miami Police Department. But he's coming on, he's talking. I want to say that at this point he's telling me about the self-defense. And he speaks for a few seconds, and then he goes and he sits back down.
And did you have any trouble understanding?
No.
So while this is happening, this is the times when you're making all the dispatch calls that you referenced earlier in your direct attention.
Correct. I would be sitting in this corner. That is where the Kendall pod is set up with the radio. And then you saw the other two. The computer systems are also here. So then I would also type and put it through to the officers' laptops in their patrol cars.
And I'm going to let it keep running while I ask you a question. It seems that the person you identified as the defendant's father is now at the window. Is this what you were referencing earlier?
Yes, he came up to the window and said, if
Objection, Judge.
Sustained.
Did you have any conversation?
he's starting to talk, and because he was not on, stop talking.
Okay. Were you also
I was doing indication dispatch, yeah. Phones, radios, computers.
pause that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Will you please tell us who's coming into the police department right now?
Officer Venturi. This one's going to be Officer Everett. Okay, this is going to be Detective Lopez, because I also called upstairs to the detectives to let them know what was going on. This is Detective King. That is the detective I called first.
Now, once all these police officers have arrived, what is your involvement essentially with Defendant?
Once officers are on scene, I'm going back to communications duties. I'm answering the phones, the radios, teletype. I'm informing my supervisor of what's going on. Fire rescues are rolling. Officers are already making scenes at the apartment. So I'm doing my communications duties.
And would it be part of your duties if the officers needed anything to ask you?
Yes. And this right here is going to be Sergeant James.
Were you able to hear what was going on? Not telling us what was being said, please.
No. Chief.
Objection, Judge. The witness is commenting without a
Do you have any
question.
questions?
Judge, for purposes of completeness, I'm allowing the video to play because I don't think I should shut it off since I just put it to evidence. But
At this time, unless there's a question pending, don't speak. Thank you. Can you please be seated?
yes, she can.
Can I ask you if you'd like to be seated?
Ms. Massey, and then after, as we saw in the video, the police took Mr. Medina to that. Did you have any further conversation at that point? Did he identify for you, when you did speak with him, who the little girl was?
Yes. I want to say her name was Isabel.
Okay. Did he indicate who that was?
He advised it was a stepdaughter, that she was a 10-year-old inside.
Okay. Were you able to determine whether it was a house or an apartment?
It has an apartment number, so whether it's a townhome or an apartment. It has an apartment number.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Cross-examination?
Excuse me, Your Honor, can you go to slide 1 first?
Yes.
No, order.
Is this a scheduling issue? Judge, I have no further questions. Thank you. Defendant?
Thank you, Ms. Massey.
Thank you, Judge. May I reply?
Yes.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Tom Medina. I'm going to ask you some questions with regards to your involvement in this case, okay?
Okay.
On the date in question, you were a communications officer, is that correct?
Correct?
And in essence, what you do is you take calls that come in for dispatch, 911 calls, things of that nature, correct?
911 calls. Non-emergency, yes. Sometimes we get transfer emergency calls. We dispatch police and fire if needed.
So if there is an emergency call made to 911, is South Miami in any way put on notice?
If you dial 911 from your phone in South Miami, you'll either get the county 911 center, or if you're really close to the Coral Gables side and say you have a cell phone, it might ping to Coral Gables. Coral Gables will transfer the 911 call to us. The Miami-Dade County side will typically put it through the CAD system. It'll still go out as a priority. We will still assign the units. It'll still get dispatched. It's just whether or not it'll go through the system we're patched into.
Okay, that's kind of a technical answer. So in layman's terms, if somebody calls 911 for an emergency in South Miami finds out about it, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
As long as it's routed the correct way, we would get it.
To your knowledge, prior to Derek Medina coming into the substation where you work, was anybody put on notice? Did anybody call 911 about anything happening at Mr. Medina's house?
Objection as to route time.
Want to rephrase your question, please?
Sure. Prior to Mr. Medina coming and self-surrendering, you said around what time, 11:30?
Correct.
Prior to my client self-surrendering at 11:30, did you have any knowledge of any event occurring at my client's house?
No.
So would it be safe to say that if my client hadn't self-surrendered, you wouldn't have known about it when he came in?
Objection, cause for speculation.
Only if you know, ma'am. Do not guess or assume. If you have to guess or assume, you may say, I do not know.
Coral Gables Police Department called us after Derek Medina walked into the station, some point later, and advised that they were hearing something, and I advised...
Objection, Judge. Instruct the witness not to comment on
Why
whatever
don't you
people...
rephrase your question? That was your question.
Well, Judge, I asked her a question.
Mr. Zagne, I'm not fighting with you. I'm just asking you to rephrase your question.
Respectfully, yes, Judge. So, Ms. Massey, prior to my client coming in, would it be safe to say that you did not have any knowledge of any event occurring at my client's residence?
Prior to 11:30, no. I had no knowledge of what was going on at his apartment.
When he walked in, he was with his father, correct?
Correct.
And you had a discussion with him, which is what you proffered on direct examination, correct?
Correct.
All right. And so as a result of this conversation that you had with my client, you took notes, right?
I took what?
You took notes?
I put out the call.
That was my question. My question was, did you take notes as a result of your interaction and conversation with my client?
I have a page that was already
I know, my dear. I'm just asking you if you did that. You created that list, right?
Yes, I created a short page notes of what happened that day.
And you would agree it's one page, right?
Yes.
And were you asked to do that, or did you do that on your own accord?
I did that on my own.
Because would it be fair to say that you wanted to memorialize exactly what the conversation was between my client and yourself the minute you walked into the station, right?
You can always refer to the videotapes and the audio transmissions along with the phone recordings of my direct interaction, but I wrote down notes because this was a priority call and I felt that I might need to refer back to them.
Okay. That wasn't my question, my dear. My question was, you wrote these notes yourself, correct?
Correct.
Were you ordered to do that by anyone?
No.
And would it be fair to say that you did that because you wanted to memorialize what transpired between yourself and my client, yes?
I wanted to remember and have notes of what occurred. Yes.
We're saying the same thing. We're on the same page. Okay. So, and as you stated just a few seconds ago, you did this because this was a high, what did you call it, a high
This is a priority call.
priority call. Now, you'll agree with me that the video that we've watched does not have audio, correct?
Correct.
But there is some audio transmission which you have where you're contacting other law enforcement officials, correct?
There's the radio transmissions.
Correct. And those transmissions memorialize conversations between yourself and other law enforcement officials, correct?
Correct.
They do not memorialize any communication that my client directly has with you, correct?
Correct. They are my words to the dispatcher.
Correct. No, I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page, that the radio transmissions are what you parrot to other law enforcement officers, and that it didn't memorialize any communication you had between yourself and my client, correct?
That is how we dispatch. They tell us something, we put the call out.
No, I'm just making sure that that's what happened. Your radio communications are between yourself and other law enforcement officers, yes?
Correct.
Okay. And would you agree with me that those radio communications were not, or did not, in this specific case, memorialize anything that my client told you from his mouth?
He told me those things happened.
No.
I put them out on the radio. I don't
You're not
understand
understanding what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, so the radio transmission captured you telling other law enforcement officers what my client told you, yes?
Correct.
Okay. They don't capture him actually saying it to you.
No, he doesn't get on the radio and verbally
Right.
dispatches the
Right.
call.
And that may also contribute to why you drafted these handwritten notes, correct? You wanted to have as accurate summation of what transpired, correct?
Judge Aston,
Overruled.
Is that correct?
I
Ms.
wrote the
Massey?
notes because I thought that it was important to do so.
And I agree with you. I think it's also very important. And I just wanted to make sure that you understand what I'm asking. You wrote these because it was very important, correct?
I wrote these down so I could remember the events that happened.
Okay. Because it was a priority call, correct? Did that have something to do with the reason? Do you take notes for everybody that comes in?
No.
Okay. All right. So let's go over the notes. You have them in front of you, yes?
Correct.
Okay. If at any point you need to refresh your recollection, let me know. You can take a look at your notes. Once you're done refreshing your recollection, pop up and I'll continue questioning you. Fair?
Okay.
So, you start off by discussing the date and time that he walks in, yes?
Great. Correct.
And you use abbreviations SMPD. Does that stand for South Miami Police Department?
Correct.
My client, would it be fair to say at that point, tells you, and I'm not sure, we weren't able to decipher if it was when he initially came up to you for the second time.
Excuse me.
No problem.
Mr. Zuckerman, let me just make an announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the third phone that has gone off during the course of this trial, and we've only been in trial for 4 hours. Please take a moment, everybody, to turn off your cell phones. If your cell phone goes off again, you will be asked to leave the courtroom momentarily. Mr. Zuckerman, ladies and gentlemen. Yes.
at some point, and the video, we weren't sure, we weren't able to determine whether it was the first time he came to the window or the second time, my client indicates to you, let me take my notes. That he just shot and killed his wife, yes?
Yes. Can I turn my notes on?
Absolutely.
What's your question?
I said, that was the first comment that he had with you, correct? That he just shot and killed his wife.
Correct.
Okay. And would it be fair to say that as a result of that, you then asked follow-up questions, yes?
Yes.
And what was the first follow-up question you asked?
Where was she located?
And did he give you a truthful answer?
Yes.
And what answer did he give?
The address of 555 Southwest 67th Avenue.
What was the next question you asked?
I know that I asked for where the gun was located.
Okay. Let's pause there for a second. He indicated that he had shot her, correct?
Correct.
And when you asked him with regards to where the firearm was, did he pause in his response? To your
No.
recollection?
No, he said it was. He stated it was in the closet.
Did you ask which closet?
No.
So you didn't ask any follow-up questions with regards to where the firearm was other than it was in a closet, correct?
When he advised that he shot his wife, and I asked where the gun was, that is for officer safety. If he tells me the gun is in a closet, then my officers are not in danger. I asked where the gun was. He didn't advise it was on him. We move forward.
So let's go to the next question. Did he make any reference to the decedent, Jennifer Alfonso, having a weapon?
He stated that, I wrote on my notes, that he stated she was dead, and he stated she came at him with a knife, so he shot her.
Did you ask where the knife was?
I did ask where the knife was, and he said in the kitchen, and I believe he said in a drawer.
Did you ask if the drawer, did he open? Did you ask any follow-up questions with regards to the knife, other than what you told the court?
No.
Did you give this information regarding to the location of the firearm as well as the location of the knife to the lead detective in this case?
I gave these notes to the lead detective.
And the lead detective's name is Detective Grossman, yes?
Correct.
Did Detective Grossman ask you any follow-up questions with regards to what's in your report?
I just want the jury to know that, am I allowed to speak?
Yeah, you're supposed to answer my question.
Please answer the question that is asked.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay?
State your question again.
My question was, did Detective Grossman ask you any follow-up questions with regards to what was in your written notes?
I met and gave a statement with Detective Grossman, and he has a copy of my notes. I advised him of the notes, and I also advised him to refer back to the audio tapes and the videotape transmissions.
And you gave a statement to Detective Grossman that day, correct?
No.
When did you give a statement to Detective Grossman?
Can I
If
refer to
there's
the...
something to refresh your recollection, check it out. Let me know when your recollection's been refreshed. Actually, I have it if you want it.
I have both sets. I just need to know the date that I went there. Hold on, I'll get it for you. This was taken on September 25th, 2015.
Are you sure about that date?
No, I just want to check it. It was after the fact. It was not the same day. I did not meet with Detective Grossman or give a statement to him on the date of the occurrence.
With regards to the notes that you took, did you give that to Detective Grossman that day?
I'm not sure if he took them that day or if he took them after the fact. If he took them at the time of this sworn statement, which might be 19th day of September.
Okay, so would there be any reason at So you don't know whether or not you gave these handwritten notes. Pardon me. You don't know if you gave these handwritten notes to Detective Grossman on the day of the incident or roughly 11 days after, correct?
Correct. It was 11 days after.
1 second, Judge. With regards to the timing issue, you indicated that upon entry of the South Miami Police Department, my client indicated this event occurred 30 minutes prior to him entering the police station. Does that sound about right?
Yes, I asked him what the time delay was, and he said 30 minutes.
Did he tell you why he waited 30 minutes?
He said he had to, after the shooting, he said, I had to leave. I had to go say goodbye to my friends and family.
To your knowledge, well, straight. You indicated on direct examination that my client appeared stressed and agitated while he was in the South Miami Police Department lobby. Do you recall saying that?
Yes, he was calm, sitting in the chair, but you could tell that he was stressed.
Was there anything in particular that he did on the video? Because you'll agree with me, the video will show how he looked and acted during that time, correct?
Yes.
Is there anything on the video that you watched in our presence, along with the presence of the members of the jury, that would show somebody acting stressed or agitated? Because I didn't see it. Could you direct me?
Sustained.
I'll withdraw that. Could you draw my attention on the video that was entered into evidence where you saw my client acting agitated or stressed? If you want to look at it again, I'm more than happy to.
No, that's a high-angle video shot. You're not going to see the same shot that I see at eye level looking at a person who's sitting in front of me. So on that video, he just looks calm.
So you're telling me a camera angle takes away whether or not someone looks stressed or agitated?
I'm saying if you have a camera angle high up looking down, you're going to mostly see the top of someo's head. You're not going to see their face.
You see his face in that video. So you're saying you just see the top of his head in that video?
No, I'm just saying.
Sustained. Ask your question.
I did ask her a question. The question is, are you saying that you just see the top of his head in that video?
No, you see him.
Judge, may I? May I ask the witness to step down? I'm going to play the...
Mr. Zabni, let her finish her answer, please.
Sure.
No, you see him. He is calm. He is sitting in the chair. But I'm telling you, he was also stressed. I could see it in his face.
You may continue.
Yes, Judge. Did you write anywhere in your notes that he looked stressed or agitated?
No.
One minute, Judge. The document was given to the detective. Did you memorialize that in a report or anything like that?
I don't write reports. I turned in the notes when it was asked for.
Okay. And just so I'm clear on this, did you inform any of the other law enforcement officers at the South Miami Police Department that you had drafted these notes? Detective Lopez, Officer Everett, or any of the other officers that we saw in the lobby that were part of this situation?
No, these are personal notes.
No further questions.
Any redirect?
Yes, very briefly. Ms. Monson, recall being asked on cross-examination just now by defense counsel that you did put in your notes about the fact that Mr. Medina, while calm, also seems stressed. You recall being asked that question and giving that answer?
Correct.
Okay.
Did you put in your notes, Ms. Rossi, how many fire rescue units you had dispatched to the address?
No.
Did you put in your report, in your notes, how many police officers you had dispatched?
Objection, Judge, this was outside the scope of the...
Overruled.
Are you required to fill out any type of report in your capacity as a communications officer?
No.
Okay. And so you gave an official reporting of that to Detective Grossman when you were asked to do that and provide a sworn statement?
Correct.
Okay. 1 second, Judge.
Ma'am, you are excused.
Judge, respectfully, Judge, the defense reserves the right to recall on.
Yes. Ma'am, you are excused. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we are going to take a 10-minute recess according to my court clock. It is 2:20. I will ask that you be back at 2:30 at the other end of the hallway. Please remember my rules and instructions. As always, please leave your notes on the chair behind you. Thank you. Would you like to leave the personal belongings out of the court for this recess? Please be seated, everybody. Before we take a brief recess, I'd like to just place on the record, we did have a request for a sidebar conversation where Van Esther, the court reporter, was not present. It was related to an issue related to a request to have an order for a motion to transport a witness to the state attorney's office for deposition and also for a bathroom break request. State, does that accurately reflect the nature of the sidebar conversation?
Yes.
Defense?
Absolutely.
We'll take a 10-minute recess, and just so the state's aware, I have not, my judicial assistant has not received that order back.
I was told Judge Tinkerman that's my...
Okay, we'll be in recess for 10 minutes, please.